I'll give you some background music.
Okay, I'm recording on Zoom, so.
What's your background music?
Yes, sweet, buddy. Thanks, Ty.
I wish I could see this.
All right, so we're going to hit you some 5 rapid questions to this Louisiana artist guy. He has his website. His website is, let me pin the website.
It's my name.
It's his name, tylerjaynes.com. He's got, I don't know why, but he's got his full album, the Magnus album, on his website. And right now he's doing his comment. And then he's in studio right now doing his second album. So it's pretty cool, pretty nice. And okay, your first 5 rapid questions.
Okay.
What's your favorite superhero?
A Thor.
All right, favorite sea animal?
Sea animal? Manatee.
Yep.
Manatee.
What? Why?
It's cute and silly.
All right, what's your biggest strength? Like your character-wise, personality-wise, what's your biggest strength?
Joy, laughter, lightheartedness.
Biggest weakness? What's your weakness?
Joy, lightheartedness. not taking things serious enough when I need to.
What's your favorite cartoon of the moment? Paw Patrol. Paw Patrol. Go.
Is Wally a cartoon?
Yeah.
All time fave.
All right, we're gonna hit one more song. So what song are you gonna play now? And tell us a little bit about that song.
All right, this next one I'll do Discover, which was kind of one of the first songs I started working on. And we even did like a little Discover release party. Candace, I know you're on right now. She should have been there. And so musically, this was me kind of stretching out of a little comfort zone. I naturally have played drums for like 20 years,
right.
Like all growing up. And then to do like guitar and singing was stretching out of my comfort zone. And then to write in that style of Discover was very different for me, but real rhythmic, kind of like what was already in me. Yeah. And then the song itself is about discovery and kind of like discovering the gifts of God, that He's put in us, that they don't just happen. It's like we really do have to dig for them. And it was the same process for even, for Magnus as an album. There's a lot of like just digging in deep for it. It's like God will give you a little direction to take, and then you just have to take steps by faith. And as you take the step, you'll start to discover that kind of stuff. So, I mean, that's what it means to me.
But it's like little breadcrumbs that you find in the Bible, right? You've got to seek it out. You've got to push it.
Yeah, I think of Moses too. I think it was like the burning bush, and it like specifically says in the Bible that he turned his focus and he went towards the bush rather than just, you know what I mean? It's not like it just fell upon him. He had to like go down that path. Yeah. And then that's what led him to ultimately his destiny, So it's the fun of discovery.
Cool. Okay, so you're gonna play Discover for us.
Yeah.
Turn up the volume. Let's hear you loud and clear.
Okay. I don't think it does anything when I turn up my volume. Light was found the day you were. You called my friend, my heart began to beat again. All this light, darker days are over. At the start, at the sound, we go out again. Who we are and what we have been, we can soon the end when we see where to begin. All this light, darker days are over. At the start, at the sound, we go out again. Every star in the sky discover. Every mouth is open wide, uncovered. light of grace was shown when you were born. The day you came to me, I was yours. Out past ocean shores, like bars and gates, become open doors. All this night, darker days are over. At the start, at the sound, we go out again. It's pretty much Discover.
Yay! Okay, cool. So that was Discover, guys, from the album Magnus. You can check out his album. It's on Spotify, iTunes, it's everywhere that you can download his album. And also his website, tylerjaynes.com. You can listen to it, you can check out his bio.
And there's a reworked version that you gotta hear. It's super cool.
Okay, it's pretty cool. I think your brother's on. Is Terry's on?
My father. That's my
dad.
dad.
Your dad?
It's probably
good night.
It's probably my mom through my dad's account.
Oh, okay. Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad.
Hello, parents.
Hello, parents. So really excited to have Tyler on, to have Ty tonight. So we're gonna run into some questions, some really deep questions now, Ty.
Let's dig.
So tell us about your first album released in 2018. What made you do the album in the first place? The creative process of getting it, then the creative process of getting it done. Did you start with lyrics first or beat first? Did someone give you an idea, or was it a biblical discovery that motivated you to do the album a specific way?
Wow, that's a lot of questions within that one question. No, I'm joking. So yeah, Magnus, I mean, that was a culmination of, in 2015, I did, well, you can go before that. I mean, in college is when I actually started to write, and that was my attempt at writing my very first song. So that was always in me, always developing, always happening. But it wasn't in 2015 that I met Diana Lammers, who is the one who actually produced the album. And that was kind of like a divine God connection that was like, okay, this is someone who can actually take, you know, me at the time who just understood GarageBand and how to actually, now let's start taking these concepts and, you know, doing them in a professional manner. So in 2015, started working with her. The very first song we worked on was Discover. And it was about a 3-year process of, I mean, yeah, I don't know when I wrote each and every song, but I mean, it was just throughout that process of Magnus. It had a sound, it had a vibe that if you hear it, you'll know it. It's heavy reverbs, kind of like a more aggressive than I would have normally written in the past. I've written a lot more acoustic vibey stuff. But yeah, very, very small. It's just me, and I write usually starting on the guitar, and I'll hear rhythms and I'll hear melodies. And that'll usually come out on the guitar first, and then it'll set an atmosphere, and then I'll usually follow that atmosphere. So like a song called Flashing Lights, it's just kind of the vibe, and then it was kind of what happened. Like, you know, maybe I'll start hearing melody, and then maybe a couple of words will come out. So probably that concept kind of came to me, okay, flashing lights. And then a part of that discovery process is like, okay, lyrically, where can I go with this, and what's this mean of substance that means something to me? So Flashing Lights for me turned into a song of perseverance, and, you know, God speaking to me like, hey, when things are happening in storms on the outside, not to let them, you know, get on the inside, and how to keep pressing forward, how to keep pursuing, you know, your dreams. And I like to reference home a lot in my songs, and like I think I say that in the chorus. It's like, you know, we're pushing on to a brand new world and a brand new home, you know, despite flashing lights, like the storm going on around you. So I mean, that's kind of my process for each and every song. And I mean, just the more I do it, the more it's been developing. So I mean, if you hear Discover, the first track on the album, I mean, if that was recorded in 2015, it's like, even just from a vocal standpoint, I was a lot tighter. I didn't understand vocal techniques, and I wasn't as comfortable. And I mean, if you hear a recording from me even before that, it was always just so tight. And so it was always just this process of like, I had drums, growing up, that it was like every weekend I'm playing drums, so it helped me develop it faster. So then to have to kind of like, oh man, I have to do this with, singing and all that kind of stuff. It's the same development. God puts a gift in you, and you just have to keep working that gift, working that grace. So whether it be songwriting or the album, it's just been that process of just kind of digging in forward and going with it. But yeah, it's a very small team. It's just me. I write it, I construct it all, and then I send it to my producer. She starts going deep into it, and then she starts kind of like multiplying the ideas and just bringing them up to fullness. And then we shoot it back and forth, and we work better than ever now. So it's really fun.
Well, you said it was like 3 years, right? So did you have any struggles during the album, like emotional, spiritual, why did it take 3 years? Did you,
right. Yeah, I had to work through that.
It was like all breeze, like easy breezy, beautiful.
No, yeah. I mean, establishing a relationship, first of all, requires trust. So it's almost like trusting the process, trusting my producer, her trusting me, and like we're learning about it. She's like learning what makes me tick. So her job, as a producer, she wants to like really take what I give her, and she never wants to like squelch it. She just wants to bring it to a fullness. So she's kind of learning how I think. But I mean, the number one thing was impatience. I just had to work through impatience, and I kind of had to just like learn the process of like, I'd rather take my time and produce something of excellence that I'm like proud of, rather than just like, just try to get things out. And I know that's something real easy to fall into. And that's what it was for me. It was just, I think a lot of it was working through impatience and just like, like if this is in me and God's given me this gift, well, this is a God connection. I'm going to honor it. And, we're just going to keep moving forward, and I don't really care how long it takes. So that was something, it was kind of like stuff like that. And then there was just like technical issues where we're trying to get together and work on something, and something comes up. So it's kind of like using that principle of like, hey, if you're going to get like little stupid things starting to come against you, like just use that as motivation. Like, what, like God, nothing can stop the plan of God for your life or my life, as long as we just keep persevering and pushing through. And we had to do some push throughs and perseverances. I remember the song, Reason. We were really working on it, and all of a sudden one of the sessions, I mean, a lot of these songs, they're like up to 150 tracks. It's like stacks of guitars, stacks of drums, and that's why it takes her longer too, because I keep kind of like, even at that point, I would
rendering and teaching, and
yeah, and I'd have ideas, and I'm like, hey, let me do this, and then I would kind of set her back, so she'd have to rework the whole structure of everything and kind of like balance everything. That's part of what she's doing too. But yeah, it was like, I remember
thank you to the producer. Thank you for patience. And I know Christmas and every birthday, Ty is going to buy you a really huge gift. A big
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But it just shows you, yeah. It's like God's kind of called us to do things where it's like, we do have to trust other people as well, and trust the process, trust God, keep moving forward.
I've learned that lesson a while ago, a few years ago, where to delegate work, or even to just trust someone else with what God has given you. God, it's a lot to take in. It's a learning lesson for us. That the way that I learned it a few years ago was, someone told me, you have to give other people the opportunity to be blessed as well. Mm-hmm. It's not just about you and you and you and you. You bring other people to dream, so that they can be blessed as well. So
that's so good. Yeah, and that's all it is. It boils down to selfishness. At the end of the day, it's like we got to get over ourselves. We got to get over everything being about us. And like, what? It's like we're a family, and like a lot of it too. It's like you have to learn how to celebrate other people. It's like not every day is going to be your day. But you have to learn how to celebrate when it's other people's days. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's like now it becomes more of like, okay, like love the process of everything that's happening around you. It's not just about you and your little world, but it's all of us, and it's something we definitely all have to work through.
Well, I think this quarantine time is definitely teaching a lot of people humility and about taking care of each other.
Yes.
Everybody's learning how to take care of each other, first at home and then their neighbors. So
yep.
Right.
Questions. Go.
Questions. Yeah. So how is like your fans, your release party? What do people say about your music, and what genre of music would you describe your style of music?
I'm trying to think. I mean, there's just been different feedback, different. I find different songs will reach different people for different reasons, even stylistically. There's like the song Splendor, and there's a song called Whole right after it, and all it really is an instrumental of Splendor, and that one's just very peaceful and kind of relaxing and soothing. So I've gotten people are like really like, man, I just love that song Whole, because it just kind of puts them in that peaceful state. You know what I mean? Things like that. Or the song like Tidal Wave, the message just kind of clicks with them. So, I mean, it's just been like kind of like that. I mean, the release party was a blast. If any friends are on here, I mean, we just had such a fun time. It was like, I have a certain core of friends, and, I'll just feel that fun energy. So I'm like, well, let's do this. Like, so I like nominated a hype squad, and we just had like balloons. We had glow rings. It was
a good old sweat dance party.
Full on party. So yeah, it was a
party.
blast. Yeah, it was a blast. It was a blast. And it just felt good too. Once again, after being a 3-year process, just to kind of like finally be able just to like release it. And that's what another cool thing too, was even like before I was able to like release it, it was kind of like sitting on my own couch before anyone else heard it. And it was like that little inner sense of fulfillment, like between just me and God, that I was like, this is special because, I just kind of did something that I believe God put in my heart. And before anyone else hears it, I feel that fulfillment. Kind of like when Jesus got baptized, and it's like before he was actually in ministry, and the Father already said like, hey, this is my son in whom I'm well pleased. And it was like before he even did anything, like performed, the miracles. So it's kind of like that, where it's like before it goes public, there's like this inner one-on-one fulfillment as you do what God's put in your heart, and you're just faithful to do it, carry it out, persevere. It was a great feeling.
It's like when somebody says, well, how do you know that you're making the right choice in ministry? How do you know that starting this something new? And I look at them and I go, it seems new to you, but my Bible told me that it's already been blessed and ordained on the inside of me. Like everything,
right.
Because he tells us everything we put our hands to do, everything that we speak, everything that we say is already blessed and ordained by God.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah. Preach. All right.
Preach.
So, all right. So we're going to hit some 5 rapid fire questions really quick, and then we're going to hear another song. So
okay.
Here it is. What's the movie that made you cry?
It'll be random stuff. Let me think of like a recent one. I remember like, here's one I can tie in. It was the third Narnia. Remember that one when they're on the ship?
The third one?
They're on the ship.
Yeah.
Dawn Treader, like something about a Dawn Treader.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this random part, and I remember I was doing some vocals for Magnus, and I was kind of hitting this point in myself where I was just kind of like, I don't know, I just couldn't quite get to where I needed to get to actually express. Like, it's kind of like, okay, just say what you mean what you say kind of thing. And that's very obvious when you're singing. Like, if you don't really mean it, it's super obvious. Well, there's this part in that Dawn Treader, and it's like the goofy kid, and he's like kind of like a jerk in the beginning, and he gets turned into a dragon, if you remember this movie at all. And finally towards the end, he's like, finally towards the end, he's like learning his lesson, and Aslan is kind of like, he's like learned his lesson, and Aslan, who, really represents God, kind of starts like clawing at his scales as a dragon. And it's just kind of like getting off that toughness, that, that wall. And then it was like right before he got restored and he was able to be a boy again. And I remember God just used that. So it's anytime something speaks to me like that, I was crying.
Tear up. You just tear up.
I was like, yes.
Oh, where's my mommy? I want my mom.
Yeah. So it's one of those. It was like representing a vulnerability that was like special to me. I was like, that's really good. So that movie.
All right, cool. And okay,
rapid fire.
Favorite childhood memory and why?
I'd say like music. It's my mom's side of the family, and my grandpa was like a teacher, and it's like he did a big band. So it'd be any like fun party events, balls and stuff like that, where it was just like everyone's dressed up and you're just enjoying the music. So it'd be something like that. Boom. Next.
Scariest childhood memory.
Scariest?
Yeah.
Sir. I think when I was like 4 or 5 or 6, my mom and like I think our family went through like a little haunted house, and it freaked me out big time.
Mommy's looking on, so mom.
I know, and they felt bad. We never did it again after that.
What's your favorite color?
Green, blue. I don't really have a favorite color.
Do you have a hidden talent that no one knows? Can you that?
You see that?
Ugh, gross. Oh, no. Okay, it's like this one. This one. The double jointed one, and then I've got
double jointed.
The double jointed thumb.
That's about it.
Yeah, that's
about it.
Okay, cool. So what's the next song we're gonna hear? And tell us a little bit background, some background on the song. Why did you write it? What it's about? Did God wake you up at 3 a.m.? Did it go
Right.
to your heart?
Let's do Splendor. We'll do Splendor, which is kind of like a softer song on the album.
Right.
And if we can get quick replies, that'd be fun. Like, Candace, what do you think Splendor's about? I know Candace, my friend, is watching.
Yeah, Candace is racking up a song. Killing me.
Yeah, she's with me on the journey. Anywho, Splendor is the chorus is all my life is in your words. And let's just reference that to like, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every mouth that comes from the word of God. And just literally, living on every word of God as your bread, your daily bread. You want me to take it away?
Yeah.
All right, mute it so they can hear me very well.
Hold on.
Oh, the world will say that I am yours and you are. You are mine, so we sing of how this love reaches. All my life is your words, your words. I found my place again. All my life is your words, yeah. Oh, all my life is your words, your words. I found new life again. All my life is your words, yeah. Oh, so my heart is whole. Oh, it's an open door. And all I have is yours. Home is what was found. All my life is in your words. Your words I found my place again. All my life is in your words, yeah, yeah. All my life is in your words. Your words I found you life again. All my life is in your words, yeah. Short version. Did you feel the vibe?
Yeah, we can feel the vibe. I think we can all feel the vibe. Hi, Christoph. Okay. Christoph is one of the really cool graphic artists that's worked with Hillsong, Lecrae, Governor B. Like, he's just an amazing branding graphic artist too.
Yeah.
Trinidad-born, but out of the UK as well. So, Chris, thanks for joining us. Talking to Hein, just hearing out a bunch of people. So, yes. So let's go. Next set of questions, guys. Who are
Harley Lewis?
Which artists are your influences and why?
Growing up, I was primarily first focused on drums. So it'd be like, you can hear that Dave Matthews. The first one who actually caught my attention was Carter Beauford, the drummer. That was like one of the first DVDs I got, and I really liked his style. And it kind of led me more of like, you'd call it like gospel chops. So that'd be like drummer influences. And then Dave Matthews eventually caught my attention because I was like, for some reason, I was
all Dave Matthews Band. We will give a salute, Ty. Let's give a salute.
I'll just be real. Just be real. I loved him growing up. And it was like the very first time I remember picking up the guitar and I was like, man, I want to play colorful chords. So I was like, got real tired of the basic these. So once I saw Dave Matthews, that's the song.
He would hold it like right here.
Yeah, but you see this shape right here? That's the same shape as Crash.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like when I heard that, I was like,
Stop, you're
oh,
gonna make me cry. You're gonna make a lot of people cry.
yeah. So it's like I was so drawn to the colorful chords and the lyric style. So it'd be like a Dave Matthews, Coldplay, early Coldplay. When I saw them live like 10, 11 years ago, that really sparked me big time. That was one of their Viva La Vida tour. It was just like
and we both agree that Fix Me is my song. You can have the rest.
All right.
The rest, yeah.
Rachel Garcia. So
Hi,
yeah.
Rachel.
Hey,
All
y'all.
your people that don't know me yet, they're like,
yeah. Hey, let's tell them real quick how we like met, and just you talk real quick. Tell them who you are.
Met.
Rebekah.
It's really weird. So I got a notification on Facebook, sent to a friend request or something like that, and I messaged you because I was like, hey, do I know you? I don't know you. You don't know me. We have no mutual friends. Like, how do you know me? Do I know you? And you replied, and you were like, no, we haven't no mutual friends. And we busted out laughing.
Right.
And then I'm a big stalker FBI person. So I went on your profile and I saw a website, tylerjaynes.com, guys. It's there. And I was like, who has a website this day and age with their name? You know, so I clicked on it and I saw you had your full album MAGNUS on it. And I was like, oh my gosh, this music's really good. It's like Dave Matthews Band. And then I messaged you back and I said, did you know that I promote artists? Did you know that I book artists for my concerts? Did you know this? And then that's how we met, guys. It was really strange. And then Ty and I, we talked, it's like been a month now?
Yeah.
It's been a month. We've been going back and forth.
And I mean, you sent me that stuff too from your open house and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So that was giving me chills. I was like, oh, this is so cool. Like you're really going for it where you're at. So
yeah, I can talk about open house all day, every day.
Just tell them you'll put a link in for that so they can go check that out too.
So Open House Music Festival happens every few years. The last one we did was in 2017, and right now we're planning for the next one in 2022. And it's going to be again for another 3 days, free admission, like a bunch of artists, local and foreign. I told Ty he could come down and just do worship. Or like, Ty, you could just be my worshiper. You could just come and vibe and give me a free concert, you know?
Trinidad trip, all the Louisianians.
Yeah, I'm trying to teach him our slangs for the past month, but he's picking up a few. Yeah, he's doing pretty good. Yeah, so that's how we met. We call it Facebook Angels because we really have no idea, but it's been pretty cool. Pretty cool friendship so far.
Pretty cool. And yeah, just once again, me saying to you, awesome job with what you're doing in Trinidad and just pursuing your passions, doing what you do. Keep doing it.
Oh, you're going to make me blush, buddy. So tell us about your music journey from birth, having your parents' support and your church support.
Okay, music journey would be, once again, it's my mom's side of the family was the music side. My dad's side was the athletic side. So I actually grew up swimming. That'd be like a year-round swimming. So it really meant like all year round competing in state meet. And then I'd do maybe like, it was my grandpa was my influence. I was like, wanted to play saxophones. I'd get lessons from him for a little bit. And then it wasn't until drums kind of clicked for me around high school that I officially like stopped swimming, which was a pretty big deal. But that was cool because it was my dad saying, hey, the same discipline, because I was like 2-hour practices Monday through Friday, swim meets. And I was like, when I was 8, I was like top in the state. So it was like a pretty, I was doing pretty well. Yeah, I was doing pretty well. And then I kind of like lost the passion for it, blah, blah, blah. And I made that transition to music. And my dad once again motivated me saying, hey, the same practice you're putting into this, put it into the drums. So then come high school comes the introduction of drums, drumline, band and marching band, playing guitar. And then come college comes my actual attempt to songwrite and all that kind of stuff, play on GarageBand. It's just like simple beginnings, but it's fun because it's like, even on that GarageBand, I remember the first time I played on it and played with the concept of writing and now trying to like use different tracks to make something. It was like 4 hours later, I'm like, what just happened? But it like engulfed me. And that was just like a real quick clue to like, hey, this is a gift that God's put in you. So,
we're going to say, Mom, thank you so much for your patience and the earbuds that you had to wear while you were jamming out in the garage.
Yeah, imagine, hardcore bashing on drums gets pretty loud.
Yeah. All right. So, again, your parents have always been supportive. What about the church support? Like, like you do a touring thing, because I know you play drums. Well, tell the people what you do at church.
At church, primary drummer. I mean, that's all it really is. I started, and that's what got my foot in the door around 8th grade. Is like, okay, around 6th grade, I'd want to like play drums, and then around 8th grade, and that's why I love to encourage younger kids too. I'm like, just use what you got because you don't know what opportunities can come. So around 8th grade, youth band, 9th grade, youth band, 10th grade, I started accelerating, and so now I'm playing for the bigger church. 11th grade, I get the opportunity to play at a big convention center with the main Easter service and all that kind of stuff. And then come college, I was at LSU, and that's when we started going where we go now, which would be Jesse Duplantis Ministries, which is actually like an evangelistic ministry that whoop, whoop, been around since like, the 80s or whatever. But then the church itself, Covenant Church, has been established, I think, for 20 years. So it wasn't until out of LSU, and that was cool because that was a God appointment too, to where like the day I graduated LSU was the day the opportunity opened up for the previous drummer to, he moved on, and I was able to step in like the next day. And that was one of those things where I remember I wasn't even going to reach out because I was still at LSU, but I remember I just kind of knew it in my heart. I'm like, man, I'm going to be playing drums here. And so that made me reach out to the worship leader at that time and just make myself available. So it always made me available. And then once again, the day that I graduated and moved back to where I could play, that's when that opportunity opened up. And now I think this is like my 10-year anniversary of playing at church, which, it's basically Sunday mornings, baby.
I told you the Trini clappers.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Unique.
So Rachel and you girls, you guys are going to take him out for some coffee. For just celebrate the 10-year anniversary for me. That'll be pretty cool.
Yeah, and then Rachel, you see Rachel, she's one of the singers. She's got this buttery voice of all beauty. We got some talent on our team that really makes it fun too.
Hi girls, big shout out. All right, so you have any funny stories from touring? Like when you guys toured, you guys do some stuff together?
Nah, I mean I haven't done much touring. It's all local. It's all just been at the home church.
As yet.
Yeah. All the traveling I did was back at LSU days, and that'd be like when I was playing with the Bengal brass band, which would be basketball team, and that was fun. It was like Final Four and Elite Eight and all that kind of like tour stuff. That was fun.
Yeah, and you were being like a silly kid, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so we're gonna have some 5 rapid, quick questions, really, really quick, just 1-line responses, and then we're gonna listen to another song.
All right.
All right, so what's one place you'd like to travel to and why?
Trinidad Music Festival.
Listen, before you can come to Trinidad, I'm still waiting on my present in the mail. So
hey, it's coming. It's coming.
No, but I know there is another place that you really want to go to really, really bad.
Italy.
Yeah.
My roots. Yes.
Mommy's roots.
Mommy's roots. My Italian roots.
Yep. Told you it's beautiful. It's really beautiful.
Yeah.
What was your first job? Your first full-time job?
Chopping dirt.
What?
Yeah, dude. Real. It was like some at LSU, and I was like finally applied for a job, and it was like some geo something where they're testing bridges and pressure, and I was literally just chop dirt, and then I'd filter it, and then I'd put it into a bin, and then we'd like compress it. The dude would run his tests on it for 3 days, and then I'd go back and chop that dirt up. It was terrible.
We will have to look for those pictures.
Yeah, it was epic.
All right, what's your favorite snack?
Zevia. It's like a healthy soft drink with stevia, but Zevia.
Stevia. It has stevia in it?
Yeah, I'm used to it. It's a little Zevia-ish, a little tangy.
I can't find that yet in here. Okay, when you'll be done with music, and why not? Do you think you'll ever be done with music?
Nah, never, ever. Because it's in me. Because it's in me.
It's in your blood, buddy. It's in your blood.
Yeah.
All right. Last question, and then we're gonna hear the song. We're gonna hear. What advice would you give your younger self?
Relax, have fun, and stay focused. Don't get distracted easy. And like some things are worth the think investment minded. Like things are worth the investment. So if something does take longer, like Magnus, it took longer, but it was worth it. So more of like that message of just like persevering with faith and patience, you will receive the promises of God. And that's just something I very much value. I value like enjoying each day, seeing value in each day, and not despising like, oh, like, you know, my next album I'm working on. Like for Magnus, I was always like, man, I can't wait till it releases. Like now I'm just like, I'm gonna enjoy every day. And when it finally releases, it releases. But like today is very important to me, and I very much enjoy it, and like enjoy my surroundings, enjoy where I'm at, as well as enjoy where I'm going to. So just like really like that seize the day message. And
so no regrets. No regrets.
Yeah, no regrets, and don't delay your joy for a future date that's coming. Like just have fun today, and know that today, like you can optimize and let it accelerate you into your future.
All right, cool. So guys, we're gonna hear another song. What song are you gonna do? Tell us a little bit about how did you write this song? Why did you write this song? We're still waiting to hear like some kind of heartbreak story, or fell and you hit and bumped your knee, or
Yeah.
you know, give us a nice deep story.
Flashing lights.
Yeah!
I fell and I hurt my knee, and I was like, I
got a boo-boo.
I got a boo-boo.
It looked like the Flash.
Yes, and I had to persevere.
I told you this is public. We've got to behave ourselves.
Yes. Hey, Brianne. So flashing lights. This one's kind of cool because it's a hybrid. Mm-hmm. How I would write most Magnus songs was right here. Start on the guitar, work on it, you know, like normal. The end of Flashing Lights, I didn't have the bridge yet, and that happened in the studio. And if I wouldn't have recorded in the studio, I would not remember what I did. It was like my first time where I was like, okay, I have this little idea, and it's that studio where it starts, okay, let me add another track, and then it blossoms. If you hear that song, listen to the bridge, and it just kind of keeps blossoming. Like that happened in the studio. And if I wouldn't have recorded it, I wouldn't have remembered it. And now that's how I write everything. So album 2, like I barely know how to play because I just kind of like, it's the fun of trust and kind of like discovery, looking for little rabbit trails. And I just hit record and I just kind of see where it'll go. And like, so the next song coming out for my first album called Color, it was something where I had one little idea and then it just blossomed into, you know, I didn't see where it was going, but it just kind of unfolded before my eyes. So that's kind of how Flashing Lights happen.
This is Flashing Lights. I'm going to mute my mic because I tend to sing along and dance and get all the
Cool. My world is all held by every word that you said to me. Oh, the only has already begun to bring it into all that I have ever known. Flashing lights will follow on. To a brand new world, to a brand new home. Going straight to the bridge. Oh, through the night, there's a calm in the storm. There's a calm in the storm. Flashes of light. Got the sky like a sword. Got the sky like a sword. Oh, through the night, there's a calm in the storm. There's a calm in the storm. Flashes of light. Got the sky like a sword. Got the sky like a sword. Boom.
Oh.
Hi. That's when you pull out the candles.
I've got my lights up for my candle. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Is your Christmas candle still lighting? Okay, we're going to some more questions. Tell us about your second album, New Music.
Oh boy, the album's going to be called...
Wait. What made you decide to do another one? A simple question, but relevant when it comes to understanding your ministry in Christ.
Wait, so you tied that into why? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, so it's a gift.
Mm-hmm.
And the more you give, the more it'll be given. The generous soul will be made fat. And I believe these gifts that God puts in us will be in us, like that. And it'll tie into the message of color. So the whole message of color is kind of like we've got white light, right? And when it goes through the prism, it starts separating into all the different colors and shades and beauty in it. But it all comes from that white light. And that's what was kind of like the message of, it's like how God has made us unique and how he's put these gifts in us. And the Bible does say, like, he'll never, take those gifts back. So like, once you've been given something, we are held accountable for it. But it's also like, you're like you in Trinidad, you have a unique perspective that nobody else quite carries because of how you're raised and how God's built you and how you resonate. And it's kind of like the color that God's given you that you represent. Versus me, I see things from a different perspective. I have a different culture, and even cultures, they'll favor certain attributes, and another culture will favor different attributes. But once again, instead of like comparing and being jealous or rivalry, it's like, no, we actually all come together. We all come from that same white light, which is the light of God. And yeah, in essence, all these colors really just paint a picture. And as the body of Christ, we're ultimately going to paint who God is. We're going to glorify God as we come to a full expression of that gift that he put in us. So that's why I kept writing, because it's in me. I never stop. My have voice memos by the hundreds of just ideas. If I sit down, it's just going to happen. Mm-hmm. So it's God puts it in you. You just keep going for it.
Talking about the music video that's coming out for Color is really, really fun. It's looking really good so far. And the same thing like the open house. Remember, we were talking about it last week. The same idea we had was we needed to let people know around the world that even though we're in Trinidad, we are all a part of one big family.
Yeah.
We all belong as one. The toe, the right hand can't scratch the ears and can't scratch your butt. I have to remember where from. Sorry, Mom. I'll be civil in the interview. We're all a part of one big, awesome, beautiful body. But I think I was telling you that a lot of people think that Christian living is boring, and I'm like, God is so colorful. He's full of laughter. Yes. He gives us happiness. He gives us joy. I mean, when we talk, we're always cheesing.
Yeah.
I'm always cheesing what I do for God. You're always cheesing when you're playing the drums.
Yeah.
It comes from within. Like, we know where it comes from.
Right.
So.
But that's what's fun too, because it's the reality of God, it's the life of God, it's the light of God, versus, coming against that religious idea like a Pharisee, where it's just like, they have a form of godliness, but they don't actually produce power. And it's like, they're not even really connected to God because they're trying to put on this whole show. And, if you want to find out who God is, he's genuine. And it's like, if you want to get a connection with God and develop your relationship, get genuine before him. That's who he is.
Yeah,
so it's like,
the mash,
yeah, exactly. So that's why, and that's why it all just works, because that's who God is. And just like letting that light come out. And I mean, once again, the children were drawn to Jesus, and no child is drawn to goofy, weird, fake, or mean. You know what I mean? They can read right through it because they're genuine. Yeah, and they have pure hearts, and they can read right through that. So Jesus was fun.
All right, so one more question before we go into the rapid fire question. So one major big question I like to ask artists is, do you see any reoccurring topics that keep popping up in your music, from Magnus now to Color, if that's the name of the new album?
Yeah.
But do you see reoccurring topics, themes, and do you also see that, like, if it is that you were asked to preach at your youth group or a church, you're supposed to preach somewhere at some seminar, and you find yourself preaching on certain topics?
Okay, yeah.
What those topics are, one, and two, are those topics coming from your belief system or from past experiences or belief system of what you've read in God's word? Like, where did those topics come from?
Right.
Twofold question.
Cool. I'll start answering it, and then if I don't answer it fully, just kind of bring it around.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, initially everything will come out of my relationship with God. So it's like Splendor that came out of, you know, it was a real season of where God was really teaching me how to like he's my life, his words really fulfill me, and like how to just have that one-on-one relationship with God without anyone else, and like how to really be fulfilled in him.
I'm gonna type it while you talk about
Keep typing.
What was the first one?
Which one?
The reoccurring topics or what?
Let's say, Home. The first song I wrote ever was called Home, Home.
Right.
So that's a theme that'll keep happening, because I guess I grew up with a family that we are like a tight-knit family. My family's very hospitable. So it's like that theme of home kind of ties into me. And just in general, once again, it comes out of a personal relationship with God. And then once again, like I said, like color, like I feel like I resonate certain, you know, joy, fun, laughter. That's a strength, obviously. So, the theme of uniqueness is always going to come out. Like, it's very important to me to, be genuine, be myself. When I write, I don't put limits on what I'm going to write or where the song's going to go. So I do love that message of, so if I spoke at a youth group, it would be easy for me just to kind of talk about valuing yourself, valuing the gift that God's put in you, valuing your uniqueness, and really digging in to maximize that, which would kind of tie into the gift of discover, or the theme of discover, which would kind of tie into the theme of color. So it all kind of joins and connects, and there's definitely favoring messages and topics that.
And then you are writing new music. I've heard one or two, and you are writing new stuff, and it sounds like new themes, new topics as well too.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. So once again, I don't know. I just don't put a limit or a boundary. Like, usually I don't go in knowing what I want to do. It's not like I'm like, hey, I want to write a song about this, and here I go. It's more of like, once again, I start with the music. The music creates a backdrop of atmosphere or whatever. And then sometimes I'll really feel like, okay, this is the direction that this song is heading as far as topically. So I did release a song, live version from the new album called Marvelous, which I probably wrote it like 2 years ago. But once again, that theme kind of came out of, that song's really expressing the topic of same kind of a theme where it's like marvelous, but I'm really just saying like God's looking to take you somewhere beyond what you even realize. I've had the lyrics, I could pull them up, but it really is just that it was a unique, I wanted a unique way of talking about like coming into a new place and kind of like walking down, that path of, once again, discovery. So it kind of all has a theme, but then I might word it different.
But that's how God works. God says that if you seek me, he doesn't promise to keep us at one point or one plateau in our life. If he takes us from glory to glory, it's a stepping stone. It's an upward movement towards being fully who you are.
Yeah.
Tyler Jaynes, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
All right, so I'm gonna just put some topics there. Okay, cool. So next question. Okay, so we've got five. We've got our 5 rapid questions, really quick, and then we're gonna play another song. So, what's your workout regimen, daily, weekly? What's your strict diet meals look like?
Like physical workout, not related to music.
Workout and what nothing related to music.
If I was doing my normal routine, I've been playing with my diet a lot. I was getting into like fasting, where I'd fast mornings and eat lunch and dinner. But workout routine, I have most control over my morning, so I learned that. So that's when I would do lift weights, even if it's just 30 minutes. I'd rather do shorter workouts more rather than some massive workout just a couple times a week. And like, I don't know, it's just easier for me. I'd rather be consistent. I like consistent, and I like to take small bites. So I'd rather do small workouts. So I'd lift in the mornings, and then eating. It's like I work with my dad, so I have my own refrigerator basically. I'm the shop manager, so I have I can like get my own food. But so right now I'm eating super healthy, just like veggies and lean meats. And then I do like sprints in the afternoon, which would only be like 10 minutes of like find an open field, stretch a little bit, and just kind of like sprint, walk back. And it was fun.
All right, cool. Yeah. And the misconceptions that people have about you. What are some of the misconceptions?
Let's open that up to the crowd.
You've got a lot of people. You've got Candace, Taryn, you've got Rachel. I'm sure Rachel's on. I'm sure Rebecca's on. Is it Rebecca?
Yeah, these are all my buds. These are
all
my pals.
Everybody's on.
Any misconceptions, y'all?
Any misconceptions? Is he a grump? Is he ever
Uh,
grumpy?
not a grump, but maybe a.
Let
I mean,
the
I could have
people
it.
speak.
Okay, they go for it.
Let the people speak.
Let them type.
Yeah, if you'll ever need anyone to book him up, check me. I think I get through what kind of laughing up. The hills are alive. What?
That ain't a. Come on, Candace.
What are
Come
some
on, Candace.
misconceptions that people have about Ty? Is he stuck up? Is he laid back? Is he funny? Is he not funny? Is he
Okay, so misconception could be either way, positive or negative.
positive or negative?
Candace, we're actually waiting for a real reply.
What do
All right,
people
we're
say?
giving.
Maybe they're scared to say never ever
Never.
drunk.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'm a smiler.
Never. I call him cheesy. He's always cheesing. Always.
Cheesing for the lard. Always fun. Thanks, Candace.
It's pretty cool. All right, cool. So we have this least favorite food and why.
Anything that makes me feel bad after I eat it. Done.
Ugh.
So like,
You suck it.
yeah.
The easiest answer.
Something delicious that like I pay for it later. That's not fun.
Tyron was like, he is not stuck up at all. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Hey, Taryn, that's who I thought you were related to when I saw you on Facebook at first.
Really?
Y'all are both.
You sent me a friend request. You did. I don't know. We don't know. We don't know how.
I know. Y'all are both connectors though. That's why it's so funny because I was like, oh, it's like when I saw your Facebook request, I was like, she's probably related to like Taryn and Tamari. And then, but it's just funny now to meet you. Like y'all are both connectors.
Yeah, Ty's a real with himself as a guest. Yes, always smiling. Hi, mom. Yes, he's as real as he gets. I mean, I've been with him for a month, and the times that we've spoken to the past month, he is always smiling. I'm always smiling. I don't know. I not once never seen me angry. Ty's the most lovable person. Aww.
You got my core crowd right now.
That's like the Tyler fan groupies side on
yeah.
the hair.
This is my live and let die troop. We ride together.
Did he pay you? Like, check your PayPal. I just sent you $5 via PayPal.
We roll deep in Louisiana.
All right, one last question before we hit that song. What's your favorite TV show? And not your nephew's TV show. What's your favorite TV show? Not
so like
bubble.
I haven't seen a TV show in a while. Like I watched Flash when it came out. That was kind of fun.
Religiously, yeah.
But I got tired of it.
Joy.
Joy boy.
Joy boy.
Oh gosh.
Oh, mommy.
Thank you. Her resemblance to Taryn is uncanny. Thank you, Rachel.
That foot rub later, mom. He's coming right out to give you that foot rub. All right. So what's Sonny gonna do? And tell us a little bit about this song.
All right. Closing out on Magnus. Or do we close out on a track up and coming?
But does it end up after 1 hour or no? I don't think
Say what?
that anymore. I don't think it ends up after 1 hour.
Let's shut her down after this.
Okay.
All right, what y'all want? Y'all want something from Up and Coming album or Magnus live and raw?
We still have to talk about future plans. We didn't talk
All right.
All
right, I'll go short Magnus. Short Magnus.
We have 5 more questions and we're done.
Mute it. Hello, it's my turn.
So bossy, Sam.
Fully open. Oh, my heart could fill up all the oceans. Miles apart. Lift your view and we are instantly closer. Out in the open, speed of light is a slow motion. Grandiose, opened up to a brand new notion. only love, only love. You know, be love. Only love, only love. You know, be love. Done. Secret attack ending.
Okay, guys, we have 5 more questions, and then he's going to end up with another song. And we want like a new song to end up with. Okay, let's talk future plans. Where do you see your music ministry heading? What's the type of reach and impact that you want to have? People perish without vision. A man without plans cannot lead anyone.
Yep. Yeah, I see fun. I see big. The very thing that sparked me was seeing Coldplay live 11 years ago. It was in an arena, and I was like, man, that was a lot of fun. But something else that was really cool that kept resonating in my heart. It literally sat on me heavy for like 3 days. I was like, wow. So something God was really speaking to my heart. But I was like, man, that was so fun, so amazing. And not to be like descending, but I was like, and that was like no anointing. It's not like they're called by God. They don't really, they don't believe in God, but it was still a fun and joyful message. So honestly, that put in me of like, I want to see that. So like, I dream big. So it's like, I would love to see it go all around the world and just do that kind of thing. So big, fun, celebration, enjoy God, take the limits off, go for it.
Go big or go home. That's my motto.
Exactly. Do it.
Let's talk about love. How do you perceive love between a man and woman from first meeting to courting period to getting engaged to marriage to future family life? What have you learned over the years when it comes to love between a man and a woman? Let's hear it from the 33-year-old Tyler Jaynes.
Yeah, God is love, y'all. So let's just put God first, seek God first. A part of that access is like, as we learn to like truly love God and receive that love, it gives us an access into ourselves so we can be vulnerable first before God. And I mean, that's ultimately what happens. And you can't love someone with a love that you haven't received. So if you do want to see a mature love in you come out to your spouse, I really believe it's going to come through a relationship with God, who is love himself. And to see that in a mature manner is like, it doesn't matter. Like, I'm 33, I'm not married, but I'm still pursuing love himself, and I'm fulfilled in that. And it's like, the longer it takes to actually get married, I don't really care, because I'm like working things out in myself. So I'd rather like just be more mature and then enter into that relationship. So between a man and a wife, I'll just say it from my perspective, would be let God do the joining, especially if you want to get real serious about like the assignment that God has on your life, where you're going. I don't think anyone can join that if you really start saying, God, I want to do what you want me to do. And to realistically say, for your partner to like be fully on board. Nobody sees the heart like God sees the heart. I believe God loves us enough to prepare, your spouse, and that y'all come together, that you multiply each other. And now it's like, it's more like God brings you together, yes, for the marriage and a family, but also to multiply your anointing to launch you into that next phase of your ministries that are now joined together.
The kingdom-driven purpose between a man and wife, it's for God's purpose. I mean, we talked about purity a lot. Purity conference, we can do it. Whoop, whoop.
Yep.
Right? That purity isn't really preached. Well, it's preached, but in Trinidad, it hasn't been preached on that side. Everybody talks about relationship goals, relationship this, giving advice to young people, for the youth. And I'm like, why are you giving that advice? It's about purity. It's about, you have to give them the why.
Yes. Also,
I've heard to pursue purity.
I've heard a cool perspective of it too, coming from like a Daniel who set himself apart in Babylon, but it was also like a key to his power and creativity because he kept himself pure. And once again, we serve a creator. It's like, if we can really stay pure, kind of like keeping our imaginations pure. Why? Because God wants to use your imagination, and if it's defiled, you're killing the channel that God wants to use. So it's the same thing as like releasing creativity. So I mean, you can hit it from so many angles, but yeah, purity at the end of the day is like, letting God set you apart. You are different in a good way.
You're with more than fools. I mean, girls.
Exactly. It has everything to do with seeing your true value. Seeing true value. That's it. Yep.
Definitely the 2 Timothy 2:22 verse, the faithful last verse, and then True Love Waits program. I mean, I met that years ago, I've never forgotten it. And it's like, when I think about your future husband, your future wife, it's really, God has a plan for that marriage already. So when you spoil that by having fun now, being silly now, being reckless with your love now, you're just ruining God's plans, You're doing it
Yep.
self-destruct. I had to tell one of my girlfriends this evening when I was getting ready to do this interview. She was like, God confirmed our love so much. God has given me so much confirmation through people and through dreams and through this and through the Bible. And now I just have to wait on him, the guy, to realize. And it's taking so long. And I had to tell her, I said, God doesn't work in a microwave environment. He cooks us like in a crock pot. The
That's good.
more that we're boiling, the more that he's the guy. Like you have confirmation, but the guy doesn't have confirmation. He's in a crock pot right now with God, and the more that he takes the stew, it's going to be that much sweeter, that much tastier. I was getting her all excited, and she's like, "So it is still God's word if a friend is taking long." I said, "Yeah, but you don't have to see it like you don't have to see it like why is it taking so long? Why are you rushing it? Why are you rushing for the love? Why are you running it down? Like you should have that knowing, that calm and that peace.
Yep.
That it's already been ordained and blessed by God. So,
yep.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah, I'll try not to preach like I did last week. I get all fired up when we start talking about Okay. The last 3 questions. The third one is: who is in your core team of support? Who are you vulnerable with? Who knows your dreams and pushes you?
What was your first question? What was the first part of the question?
Who is your core team?
Your what? Quarantine?
Your core team, like your main core team of support.
Oh, core team.
C-O-R-E, your core team.
Everyone on Facebook Live right now, core team. Core team, right here on Facebook Live. They love me, they support me.
He laughs at my Trini accent all the time. He's like, I love to hear you talk. You sound like Calypso, the Rasta woman from Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yep, y'all YouTube Calypso from Pirates of the Caribbean.
I'm like,
Bob. She's like Bob Bossa. But I loved it. That was like when you sent me that video from Open House, and it was like seeing the whole culture of Trinidad got me so excited. It was so fun. Y'all have such a fun energy. I was like, oh, this is awesome.
Like that. That's why Tadashi, Capital Kings, The Truth, KB, they're like, we want to come back so bad. Like all the artists.
Yeah.
You guys.
Yeah, God.
We had them diving into the swimming pool with their clothes on. We had them diving off stage into a crowd of thousands of people that they've never done that before.
Jeez.
I mean, you don't see those guys.
But it's a part of that like Caribbean culture that's really like God ordained, that celebration. Oh, yeah. That's really cool. My
team is super laid back and crazy fun. But anyway, yeah. Okay. So your core team, who's within your core team? I'm sure they're online right now.
They're just online right now. It's friends, family, church, family, tight. Even like Candace, you're saying online, like we've known her, like she's seen me grow up. She's seen me turn into a drummer, turn into a songwriter. And, it's just the people that God puts in your life that literally just support you no matter what. So yeah, that's it, core team.
Okay, but who are you vulnerable with? Meaning, who knows your dreams and pushes you? Like, who can you be real with to share your dreams?
Yeah.
And if you need correction and guidance, and if it is that you find yourself when you self-reflect that, hey, I think I might be going a little off course here. Who do you run to?
Right. I've got 2 older brothers, and I think I'm pretty much mostly just real tight with them and can just be open enough. We've done that even with our family, and it's kind of helped us work, like the family meetings where it's like everyone just kind of gets together and gets real. It's like those have been like saving for us because it like helped us, if someone needed guidance, growing up in high school or whatever, it'd be like, if it really got to the point where it was going to be addressed as a family, and I don't know. So I'd say it would be in the family. Kind of thing like that.
Actually do that at home, like how we have Thanksgiving dinners once a year. You guys actually do like a little family informal meeting where everybody's kind of checks up on each other.
Kind of, yeah, in a sense, yeah. And we're just open enough.
So when Dad looks at you, Dad goes, "So tired. What have you been doing? Are you wasting your time at ministry?"
Yeah. Yeah.
That studio thing working out at all?
Right. No, yeah, but they support the heck out of me, so that makes it so fun. But yeah, I'd say family.
All right, cool. And then, okay, who do you share your fears with and your heart with? Who do you confide over? Okay, the last question. How do you balance your job, career, music and studio, church obligations, and family time? How do you balance all of that?
Set priorities. Like there's got to be a focus. avoiding distraction. It's something I'm pretty pumped about right now because I've been learning like, just like if you want to get control of your days, if you want to get control of your hours, you gotta like, it's details. So it's like the minutes that are very important. I've been doing a diet and it's like finding the small little calories that kept robbing me of what I wanted to get to. Money wise, like, okay, if I can get control of the dollars, I can start having more control. So what was the question again? I just remember that tied me into it.
How do you balance everything from church,
Yeah. So once,
home,
yeah.
supporting your sister, like, the whole
Priorities.
time management, your time management. Priorities.
Yes, priorities and keeping them set. What's most important. It's always going to be God first. That was one of the biggest lessons I've learned in this season of life where I currently am 5 years ago, 6, 7 years ago. I finally like really set apart the morning time and it doesn't get touched. And that's my one-on-one time with God. Before that, I love teachings. I love going to church, but I would never quite commit to that one-on-one time. So that was a game changer. However long ago, maybe like 6 years now. So it's like, that's number one priority. That kind of sets my mind right for the rest of the day. I mean, I'm working. So right now I'm getting, paid to work. So it's not like I can go to work and slack off on the job and expect God to bless the music. So it's like, I want to be wholehearted in the work and all that kind of stuff. But I just kind of keep it simple. I don't know. I tend to be pretty,
But do you have like a calendar? Do you have like sticky notes all over the place of reminders? Like, how do you keep mindful of what you have to do?
Right. Yeah. I mean, I got my little calendar and stuff like that. And I like to like kind of write out for the day, what's important for the day or coming into the future of like bigger goals. We did that this year where it was like me and the Garcia girls who should be on here, or if they're still here, we got together and like, kind of like, okay, let's get real, put pictures up on the board. So I see that every morning. So that's pretty clear as far as bigger goals, but then you got the smaller things that are just like, okay, this is like a today goal.
Shout out to the Garcia girls. You guys.
Yeah, Garcia girls.
Anything that you just.
Yep. But yeah, so that's it. Priorities and just avoiding distraction. And I can feel it when I get distracted. It's like kind of like energy level gets, you know what I mean? It's like when you feel busy, but you don't know what you did. Yeah. It's the worst.
All right, so we've got our 5 rapid questions, and then we're going to do the last song for us. So, really quick answers. Do you like social media? Explain why or why not. Addiction to cell phone, blah, 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 blah.
I do, because it's a very powerful tool, but with great power comes great responsibility. And my dad and I were just talking about it today because we went to a middle school, and it's like the coach there was like, talking about removing the cell phones. And once again, it's like you're trusting a middle school kid with the cell phone. It's highly addictive. It's like you got to learn how to like teach. Well, it's like almost really like parents teaching their kids how to manage their time, because it's like if I would have had that as a kid, yes, I would be addicted completely. And yes, it's a very addictive nature. So it's really just learning once again in this day and age how to navigate. This is like, the fact that we're able to connect like this is awesome. And it's like a form of God prospering us with this technology, but you got to learn how to be responsible with it. So there's definitely the plus side, and there's definitely like, hey, with this, it's like, you got to be smart, or else you're going to, once again, go your whole life and be distracted. And once again, when I write my music, I have to be in a state of focus. And if not, you'll go your whole life and you'll never kind of like tap what was in you. So that's my message.
I mean, remember, I do concerts, right? I promote concerts, I plan concerts. So my position, like while the show is going on, I like to be at the side of the stage to see the people's reaction. Like I see the artists up there, the months of planning, and then I look into the crowd. My biggest reward is looking into the crowd at the youths that are actually receiving, the message of salvation. And recently, it's like I just want to run into the crowd and take everybody's cell phone away. Because I'm like, oh, there's Mali music up there. There's Jonathan McReynolds is on the stage in full worship, and you guys are just there with the cell phone, filming him. And I'm like, cell phone, drop it all and just worship.
Right.
Brought him down here for you guys to worship. Jamie Grace is on stage, and there's people with cell phones in the crowd. That's my pet peeve. Yep. The reason why I said that is because your next question is, what's something that makes you mad? What's your pet peeve?
I mean, so let's talk about like writing wise, and like genuineness is important to me. So I can feel when something was rushed. Like if I did something and I was like, that's a little corny, because I knew I didn't quite dig deep enough. So I guess pet peeve would be like people trying to imitate each other, where it's like, obviously like, that's cute, but that's another version of this. And you're not being original. Like, that's once again, one of my core messages is like, I love that originality. I really believe God is the creator. and that because of that, like there's a message of originality, especially in the art world, that I do want to see come up and out, and not try to mimic people, not try to be like, hey, this is a Christian version of this dude in the secular world. Like that bugs me big time, because once again, genuineness is important to me, originality is important to me. And I can definitely hear it in myself when I was like, I didn't quite take enough time. Or it's like, have you ever had an album that you liked from an artist, and then their second album comes out, and it's like, well, what just happened?
Different, yeah, like something.
Yeah, but it's because they rushed it. It's like all that kind of stuff. So it's like, take your time, let things unfold, and tap into that gift that God's put in you, and don't try to mimic.
Yeah, let it soak, and let it and let it get all mixed up. Like hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Yep.
All right. Are you an introvert or extrovert? Do friendships happen naturally or work in progress for you?
I'll tend to be more introverted naturally. I'm the baby of the family, so I like it's naturally for me, like, you know, let other people do the talking. I'm fine with just chilling. But then there's a part of me, like, once I get out of my little shell, like, I'll just have a blast.
Yeah. What's the favorite place you've visited and why?
Favorite place?
Yeah.
I don't know. Vacation's always fun. I don't have a favorite in my mind right now. Beach.
Well, when you go to Italy will be your favorite place when you visit with mom to Italy. You go see the Colosseum in Rome. What's something you need every morning? Your last question. What's something you need every morning when you wake up before leaving the house?
What's something I what every morning?
You need every morning before leaving the house.
I do like to start off the morning with like hype worship songs to kind of get me going. And that's like a new habit that I'm like, I'm glad I kind of brought that back. That's it.
Yay, we're done with all the questions, people.
Oh, thanks for staying on point with me. Hey, look, Rachel's calling me out for being an introvert. Don't you call me out, Rachel.
He's an introvert?
Funny.
Is he really?
But I mean,
you can spill the beans. Is he really an introvert? I mean,
yeah, I can be bubbly, but I naturally tend to, like, it's easy for me not to, like, go out. You know, I feel more of a tendency just to chill, not to, like, go like.
Letitia, hi Letitia, she's finally on. Letitia, you're on when we just finished all the questions. We were talking for an hour and 16 minutes. Yeah.
Good thing for Facebook.
Yeah. He's pretty good. Coffee. She said coffee. Coffee. You need coffee.
Yes, that's true. I like coffee. I'm a coffee dude. I like good coffee.
I'll have my golden milk of turmeric and my cinnamon, and my almond milk, and I'm not a coffee dude. But yeah. I mean, when we talk,
we ready?
Talking. When both of us talk, we talk a lot. Yeah. Which is pretty good. So I don't see that introvert.
Thanks for staying in there with us, everyone.
Yeah, you guys stay on really long, but we're going to end off with, what song are you going to end off with?
I'm going to show y'all one, right? This song, Flip It. Boop. This was a song that I literally just wrote last week. New album, new vibe.
Oh, this is a cutesy.
This is the cutesy one I'm going for. So Magnus was all about, like, the big fun sounds. Mm-hmm. This one was finally like, wow, this is pretty stripped and fun, and, like, I just wanted to embrace the vibe, so I embraced the vibe. It's called Dressed in White. Here I go. Let me learn how to flip it. Play it. Eyes watching two hearts, one beat moving slow. The king kiss the queen light for love came down. New life was formed as bells ring loud. Bright and white, pure hide all your thoughts are of lightning force. Love came down. New life was formed. As bells ring loud, and all the sound, the waves grow quiet. Just rest your head while dressed in white. Boom. Are you up?
The cutesy, sweet, very nice, lovely song that I did not want to hear, but we all hear it.
We all heard it. It's out.
Heard it. It's out. It's pretty cool. Anything you want to let the people know before we go and we end this? Really, we did not think we were going to talk this long, but
yeah, super
it was
fun.
pretty good. It was a super fun interview.
Yeah, super fun. Thanks everyone for joining us. Y'all make it fun. Obviously, if it was just us two, it would be boring. So thank y'all once again for your support. Thank you, Rebekah. Super thankful and just having fun and loving the journey. Y'all make it so much fun.
Thank you so much, Ty, for all the time and for all the music that you're writing, because you know you've got a groupie out of me all the way in Trinidad, and maybe you guys will, a whole group of y'all can come visit when I have open house concert next. Who knows?
Boom. Book it.
When I book my Lecrae whole song, the big, I just want to get the big fish down here. And we'll have one big craze party. We'll go to the beach and we'll hang out. But thank you guys so much for coming. Any last shout outs from the group? You guys want to say anything before we log off? You guys want to ask anything or say anything? Things that you normally would not say to his face, like, you know, big him up, pump up his chest. Yeah.
I think Mom fell asleep. She's not even with us anymore.
Mom is still there. Like I saw.
Mom, wake up!
Terry, I told you really knew who he was. She commented. I just replied to her comment. So Mom's still on. It's not anybody saying I can never ever see blah 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 blah. Anyone has anything to say before we log off? Say bye.
Hearts. Just do heart emojis. That's it.
Nigella. Hi, Nigella. Jesse, you're super late. You guys want to hear one more song? I think we should hear one more song. I want to hear one more song.
Like what? What you want?
I told you this interview is for me. I wanted a live concert.
Close out on something strong.
Big and strong. We're gonna hear some live music from Tyler. Come on, Tyler, end it off and then we'll close off the live.
Tidal wave.
You can do one of yours, or you can probably do something like a cover if you want.
I don't even know covers, dude. I play drums. You know, I don't learn chords.
Thank you, Sylvia. Ty's mom. She's awake.
Okay, sweet.
All right, let me mute my mic. Go ahead.
Quick tidal wave. Our Father, move across the world like an ocean. Wait, I gotta remember the song. Like an ocean, like a tidal wave, sweep over, place everything in the center, in the palm of your hands. Our love will grow in every way till the moment, till the day you return. Our love will reach through even more, through the cracks and unlock every door. Our love will be an open arm to hold you until you return. Our love will reach through even more. Come close, dear. It's time to come back home. Heard that home theme? Oh. mother, take all of the land into your care until I return, love mother. Tell her all of her heart goes with me until I come back again. Our borders now begin to expand till the light comes, till it shines our hands, take to work and begin to uproot and plant all the old trees down, replace with new seeds instead. Our love will be an open arms to hold you when you return. Our love will be the open door. Come closely, it's time to come back home. A taste of tidal wave. While my brothers are in the other room like, shut up.
Oh, no.
Go to bed.
I'm trying to watch the movie here. Sorry, guys. I'm just looking at all these comments. It's pretty cool. Okay, so nice chatting with you, buddy.
Yep, always fun.
Yeah, you just schooled me. So oh my god, it's a really good song. Really good song.
We all just learned from Rachel, bop.
Bop.
If that song's your bop, it's really good. I'm learning too.
Gen Z slang.
Wow, she's so hip.
All right, guys. So if you're new to his stuff, you can check out. I tagged his website. So you guys can go to his website. And his second album, he's still working on it. Pretty cool guy, really talented dude. I'm just in shock that he plays all these instruments. I'll just pretend he's not here. Because every time I big him up, he's like, he's a really talented dude, and we're excited. I'm excited. I know you guys are excited. So Ty, we love you, we pray for you, and we know that God has amazing, great things in store for you. And all those dreams and all those vision, your vision goals, and everything's gonna come to pass. That's what we pray. That's what I pray. That's what we all pray. And yeah, we'll probably look back at this interview years from now and just bust out dancing like
making memories, y'all. Making memories.
Did you really do that interview? That was so corny. Yeah, but you look at it, yes, we'll be the dogs that we are, right? That's we don't care. All right, so good night, guys.
Blessings. Thank y'all so much. Thank you.
Say. Well, for tonight. Yeah, I did. I mean, but invite friends. Invite some friends.